Hello and welcome. I was jamming out to that intro music, Chris. I don't know if you were. I was out here in the background, just bobbing my head back and forth.
Is it better or worse than the hold music? Remember, that hold music where they did the commercial where the couple was dancing because the hold music was going on for so long. And it's got that weird pan flute noise in there. The do. Yeah. Which one do you like more, Michael?
And I like this countdown music, and I know for this episode I let it play for a little bit longer than last episodes. But I
should get a soundbite of that other hold music.
Yeah, we'll have to do that next time. But anyway, welcome everyone.
Hey everyone!
This is the Getting Into HCP Vault Radar series. This is episode 3. Can you believe that, Chris? Already we're on episode 3.
We've come such a long way. It's the friends we made along the way. That's the most important part.
Yes. And speaking of the friends we made along the way, we absolutely love it when you interact with us in the chat. I know Chris is always throughout this whole stream. He will be monitoring the chat. But just while you interact with us, please keep the community guidelines. Just be respectful, be professional. For more information, check out the link below, HashiCorp.com/community-guidelines. For this episode, Chris, we will be talking about Radar Agent, so HCP Vault Radar Agent and agent pools. But before we jump into that, maybe do a quick recap of episode 1 and episode 2.
We absolutely should.
So episode 1, we kind of talked about, and I can share my screen so we can see. So does that look good, Chris, in terms of, do I need to bump it up a bit?
Yeah, just a little bit. That's
all right.
Yeah, there you go.
Bump it up one more. So episode 1, we talked about just a little bit about HCP, or the HashiCorp Cloud Platform in general. Then we talked about HCP Vault Radar, different pricing models, things like that. And then we discussed how to scan your first repository or multiple repositories within GitHub Cloud. So the kind of like the SaaS version of GitHub that, maybe a lot of us are familiar with. And then from there, once we scanned it, we were able to see the results of our scans and through a nice little dashboard here. And when you click into events, we can even kind of filter through different events and see what secrets were found within our repositories. So that was all kind of episode 1. I'm sure we talked about more there. Episode 2, we kind of talked about more of the third-party integrations. So if I come down here to the settings and go to integrations, we can see that there's some integrations with Jira, Slack, Teams, PagerDuty, ServiceNow, and Splunk. Those are really good for alerting. So if Radar finds something, it can alert you in one of these platforms, as well as ticketing. So if it finds something, it can generate a ticket. So Chris, do you have any kind of favorite things about episode 2?
So one of the things that I really appreciate about this, when I'm getting work done and my boss needs to come at me and say, "Hey, Chris, you banana head, you forgot to do X, Y, Z." I don't want that in a venue that I'm not accustomed to. I want her to yell at me in Slack like she always does. Melissa, if you're watching. So the fact that we can actually get, "Hey, banana head, your secrets are being leaked all over the internet. Please beware," via Slack as well, is something that it's almost kind of like a must-have. It's one of those things where you're not going to go to a custom portal to like regularly check things. And email is nice, but I want it in a ticket. I want it in the thing that I'm going to be regularly accessing all the time anyway, whether that's Slack or Jira or Teams or whatever. So yeah, that was pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I kind of come from, I used to work kind of adjacent to a SOC or a security operations center. And so you had incident response teams working in their various platforms, working tickets. And so I think it's great. And kind of, as you mentioned, that now, like for ServiceNow, for example, which we saw in episode 2, if your team's already working out of ServiceNow, they can just continue to work out of ServiceNow. So yeah, I think that's fantastic. And I'm sure we're going to be adding more and more integrations as the time comes. Also, something that we've been doing we tried in episode 1, or maybe we didn't get to it in episode 1, but then we tried to do it in episode 2, and we ran into some problems, and that was around these GitHub PR check policies. So I actually looked into it, Chris, and I figured out why we were having such a difficult time with it. And
it's all Rosemary's fault.
Yeah, partially, I was just say partially my fault, partially, and I'm not blaming Rosemary, but it's definitely.
I am. I'm totally. She's out. She's out. She's on PTO right now, so we can blame her for everything.
Yes. But so the reason why the GitHub PR checks was not working for me, and I know Manu, if you're watching, you were a great help. I was talking to you after the stream, and we did some debugging back and forth on why, because Manu was able to get it to work, but like, why wasn't I get it? Why couldn't I get it to work? And it all boiled down to that Rosemary, which is another developer advocate at HashiCorp. She set up that integration already, and
stole it from us.
The current process is that you can have it set up once. I think that the team is looking at that and maybe going to change that limitation in the future. But just be aware as you go down this path. If someone sets up that integration, they kind of own that GitHub pull request for that GitHub org specifically, right? So we've been working in HashiCorp team DA GitHub org, and Rosemary had already set that up, and so she was quote unquote kind of the admin for that, which is why when I tried to set it up, it did not work. Which I was thinking about that, and typically you're going to have, there's only a subset of admins that are going to be setting this up. So yes, while for us this might be a roadblock that we ran into, if you're doing this and you're an admin for your GitHub org, because you do need some sort of admin permissions to install these apps. I don't really see you running into that issue all too often, but if you do, keep that in mind. But I was able, so I didn't put it in the HashiCorp team DA org. I did put it in my own personal GitHub org, so we can take a look at that as well and kind of take a look at some of the PR checks. So Chris, if you're ready, we can dive right in.
I'm currently harassing Rosemary on PTO.
All right.
Yes, I am absolutely ready.
All right, so pull request check policies, or PR check policies. So this will scan each pull request as it comes into your GitHub repo or your Bitbucket repo. So you can see those under settings and then PR checks as I am here. And we can see that they are currently enabled for secrets, and you can fail if any secrets are found in the latest version. There's some good documentation here, which I say it's good. I went through it a lot. And if we go out here, we can see more documentation around how these pull request checks work, what you need to do, how to install it, what type of permissions you need if you're doing it on GitHub Cloud or if you're doing it on GitHub Enterprise. In our case, we did it on GitHub Cloud. And then again, there's also this one-click. I really like, we've been talking about that episode 1, episode 2, and now episode 3. There's a lot of these links that take you out to GitHub, for example, and they just auto-populate things for you. And so this takes you right out to the GitHub app. You can configure it. So again, I was trying to configure this in the HashiCorp Dev Advocates, which Rosemary already did. So this time I configured it in my own Michael Kosir GitHub org. And we can see here that I have, so if you watched episode 2, this might look a little familiar here. We're only giving it access because I don't want to scan all of my repos because this is my personal org. Not that I don't think I have. I'm trying to think back. Maybe I should scan it to see what secrets I have. Something to do off stream, I guess. But so I selected, I only want to scan and monitor this specific repo for GitHub pull request checks, which is the Vault Radar repo. And if we go out to that repo here, we can see that we have some code, and I can bump this one up as well. So we just have a Python code here. I did do an initial, I put some secrets in here, so we can see we have, MongoDB username, password. Again, we've been messing with secrets this entire time. You're not going to be able to connect to this. This is not a valid username or password, and this, MongoDB URL is a local Kubernetes. So it's not even going to work for you. Don't try it, is all I have to say. But so we did some initial scans, Python here as well. Now, the exciting thing is I did a pull request, and I can do another one as well. So I made a new branch called feature 001, in which if I look at the files changed, we can see here that I was trying to add some new code that was hitting michaelkosir.com with a username and password right in the URL. So URL queries, right?
33
and
Kosir 50. That's my password. How did you
yeah,
know? No. Okay, never
it'd be
mind.
weird if your password had my last name in it, Chris.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the password of my luggage.
But we see here, so even just looking, I'm just going to skip your little luggage joke there.
That was a Spaceballs joke. That was
yeah.
that was a deep cut. Come on. All right, never mind.
But we can see here that if I go back to the PR page as well, we can see that some checks were not successful. And it ran as a part of this pull request. It ran this HashiCorp Vault Radar secret scan, which failed because secrets were found at the tip of the branch, which means I was trying to merge in secrets into this. But if you notice, which I didn't set this up on purpose, if you notice, we're still able to merge the pull request. So even though that we had this fail, I could still merge it. That's not super great. So we can go out to settings of our repo. We can go to branches, and we are going to add a classic branch rule protection. And we are going to add this on branch main. And we are going to select require status checks before merging. So again, we tried doing this last episode, but we were running into the problems that, Rosemary had already done this.
Rosemary.
So now if we just search for HashiCorp Vault Radar Secret Scan, we can see our status check here. And something to note that when I did this process, when you first set it up, you might have to do an initial pull request like I just did before this option pops up for you. So that is something to be aware of, something that I did run into, which is why I ran that initial pull request, which then kind of ran this check, which allows it to pop up here. So we enabled this status checks that are required. And if I create this branch protection rule, it won't, I don't believe it will take effect on this existing pull request, but I do have another feature branch. I've been busy. I have feature 001 and feature 002. Let's open a pull request and great code ahead. So let's create a pull request. We are going feature 002 into main. We will make a pull request, and we can see we have, it is starting the scan now. So it's working this time. And this should take, 11, 10 seconds, something like that. It doesn't take too long. So it's doing these status checks. And if you're doing this process, you probably already have some, linting that you're doing, some unit test, integration tests that you're doing as a part of your CI/CD pipelines and your merging pipelines. So this is going to kind of run with all of those as well. And we can see that it did fail because secrets, again, were found in the branch. And if we click into this, we can actually see the report right in GitHub. So we don't even have to go out to HCP or the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. Nice. We can just stay right in GitHub and we can see, hey, it found a GitHub personal access token that I was accidentally committing. And it also found a Azure Active Directory client secret as well.
Man, you're just spilling all the beans.
Yeah, spilling all the secrets. And then it even has the file paths here, which is kind of neat. So if I click on this, this should take us right to where they are, and we can see our hard-coded GitHub credential and our hard-coded Azure credential. Again, you can try. It's not going to work. If you want to try, you can. It's not going to work.
For all the times that we've had to mosaic out access tokens in like recorded videos that we forgot that we had like live stuff in, this feels weird. It feels super
it does.
weird to like.
it feels like I'm doing something wrong because we will get in later in this episode when we talk about agents and agent pools. I will be generating live credentials, which I definitely do not want to expose. But these credentials are different. These ones are okay. I can expose these. So that's kind of cool, Chris, right? So you can see in this integrate GitHub things, we can no longer hit, merging is blocked due to failing merge requirements. it looks like I can bypass this, probably because I'm the owner or the admin of this org or this GitHub repo. I'm not sure exactly how these bypass rules work, but you can see if we're ignoring the bypass, you cannot merge this because secrets were found within our pull request. So it only took 3 episodes to show how that worked, but again, most of that was our fault. The HashiCorp DA team was to blame.
Well,
here.
I mean, to be fair, we only tried in episode 2, so
that is true. We didn't try in episode 1. We ran out of time.
Don't give yourself so much static. That's what yeah.
But it is very simple. So you just kind of click now. Now that we've done this, again, you just click this install the HashiCorp Vault Radar app for GitHub checks. You click this, you hit configure, and then you just pick whatever org that you want to deploy it to. Again, you'll need some sort of admin permissions or permissions to install this app. And then when you're in here, you can either enable it on all repositories or enable it on select repositories. Again, that will start doing the pull request checks during, anytime someone is opening a pull request. If you want to lock it down and say all pull requests have to, no secrets can be in any pull request, you will have to make a branch protection rule in GitHub like we did here. And you can select require status checks to pass before merging, and then you just select the appropriate status check. In this case, the Vault Radar secret scan. And I believe these work for GitHub and Bitbucket. So we've been showing GitHub this whole time, but it also works for Bitbucket. I unfortunately don't have. That is not something that I went to go kind of set up a developer instance of, but we've been working in GitHub here. There is also a section on the left-hand side. So just like we can see the events, we can also see all of the pull request scans that we did as well. So if some admin wants to log into the portal and see all of the different pull requests, we can see here that we did 2. One I did yesterday, that was me testing, and then one that we did today. And we can see the data source, the resource, pull request number, and then where the secrets are in the code. So kind of neat.
Very cool.
Very cool. Chris, any questions about pull requests or anything like this before we move into agent scanning?
I mean, there's a ton of different, remember how we were talking about how I'm scared of rebasing and all the different mechanisms?
Yes.
I have questions around that kind of stuff, but that's not something that, I would need to sit down and just get into the weeds of a really gnarly commit and see if there's anything that I could sneak past radar.
Right.
But that is above and beyond the scope of our getting into series.
Yes. And I know that, and I'll go back to our pull request. So if you noticed, this says secrets found at the tip of the branch. So that's the code that I'm merging over.
Mm-hmm.
But
what if you had a detached head or
right? If I made a commit and I made more commits on top of it, I'm not sure how detached all of that will work. That'd be something interesting to try out as well. But I do know that, and I think we saw it in episode 1, that it does search back through the commit history, right? So if I am doing all of these commits, and maybe commit number 2, I accidentally committed some code or some secrets, and then commits 3, 4, and onward, I fixed it. But then I go to make a pull request, and you're going to look at, what files did I change? You might not see that I ever actually committed any secrets, but Radar is going to be looking at the commit history and the tip as well. So Radar has your back, which is good. But up next, I think we can talk about agent scanning. And so there's a good blog that we actually have posted out here as well. And if I scroll down here, there's a good diagram. So this whole time we've been doing these HCP Vault Radar scans, right? So this is the scan is actually occurring in the HashiCorp Cloud Platform, right? It's reaching out from HCP out to GitHub Cloud. It's reaching from HCP out to Azure or HCP out to Bitbucket, right? All of these kind of public facing. You still need a token. You know, we've been using a GitHub token, but it's still all kind of public internet. If we want to scan something that's on premise or a private network or something like that, we can take advantage of agent scanning. So there's a good diagram here that I can pull up here. So essentially, your customer, you're an admin, you're going to onboard data sources to the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. But let's say you're running GitHub within your own environment, right? You're doing GitHub Enterprise Server. So within your private environment or private network, you can have a pool of agents. So an agent pool. And this pool contains a number of agents that you can set up. And these will actually do the scanning within your environment. And it will push only the metadata up to the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. So it's not actually pushing your secrets up to the HashiCorp Cloud Platform. It's just doing all of the scanning locally within your environment and then pushing up the metadata. And that metadata is things like author, severity, commit hash, things like that. So it's not actually uploading your secrets to the cloud. It's keeping all of that within your network and then just uploading related metadata here. So this is what we're going to take a look at.
Quick question.
Yes.
The agent, is that analogous to the Terraform runner, or is that a different kind of construct?
I believe, I know, Chris, you're kind of more in that kind of Terraform space, but my assumption is that I think that this is very similar, right? So okay. These Vault Radar agents, you're issuing these commands from the HashiCorp Cloud Platform, which is, the public internet. And it's going out to your private network and then running some commands within your private network, which sounds very similar to those Terraform agents. That way you're doing all of your building on your own network. And then, you're using HCP Terraform as kind of like the management plane, essentially. So I believe that to be pretty similar. If we were moving on here and go to resources, we can add a new data source. And these are our two options, right? So HCP Vault Radar Scan, that's something, if you're going to hit some public, something on the public internet that you just need an access token for. But in this case, we want to do a Vault Radar agent scan. And so there's some documentation around, what is Vault Radar agent. There's also a CLI. So, the agent's a binary that you can download called Vault Radar. And then you can deploy it either locally. So you can deploy it on, just a Linux or Mac to play around with, or ideally you would deploy it to Kubernetes. That way you have some high availability, right? You're running like 2 or 3 or 5 Vault Radar nodes or Vault Radar agents within your pool. But moving on, we can add an agent pool. Something to keep in mind is this kind of note here that current limitations is that you can only have one agent pool per HCP project. And it says that future releases are going to allow for more agent pools. So if you have different private networks, currently you can only support having one agent pool, but in the future, stick around, they will be adding support for multiple agent pools. So to configure an agent pool, we give it a name. We could call this, data center 1 example, right? So this agent pool is going to live within data center 1, and then I can give it some human readable name here. Next, we can install the Vault Radar agent. So depending on how we're going to deploy it, we can deploy it through Kubernetes, or we can deploy it just manually. There's some install instructions for Mac here as well, but it's also out on, just like you would install Vault or Terraform with, if you're on Mac and you use Brew, you can Brew install HashiCorp tap Vault-Radar. I already have it installed, so it's going to give kind of a warning that I already have it installed here. Yep. So we can see that, Vault Radar is already installed and up to date. If it wasn't, it would have installed it for you. And then from here, you can do, your help commands as well. So we're going to be looking into agent, but there's also a lot of other commands here, which I'm hoping we can get to in the next episode. But again, we'll be looking at the Vault agent commands as well. So we can see here, and then we also need to create a service principal. So this is also something that I need to do as well. So we can go out, and there is a link on how to create these that kind of guides you through how to create them. So essentially, we will go back to our HashiCorp Cloud dashboard. And this is kind of where I have to be careful, Chris. I don't want to expose these credentials. These are credentials that I don't want to expose. So out in our, this is our HashiCorp project called Getting into HCP Vault Radar. We can see all of our different products that we can spin up here. On the left-hand side, though, we can see access control or IAM. We can click on that. And then we can click on service principals on the left-hand side. So this is where we can configure new service principals. Essentially, we're getting like an API key. We'll actually get a client ID and client secret key, which the agent will use to connect. So we'll click create a service principal.
Bump that up just a little bit, please.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah. Is that okay? Perfect. Thank you for that, Chris. So here we can create a service principal. I'm just going to call this, Vault Radar, and then because we're putting this in our specific agent pool, I think I called it DC1 example, right? So this service principal is going to be specifically for the agents that we're putting in, and I'll do Vault Radar agent DC1 example. And under selecting a service, there's actually a Vault Radar service that we can click. And we can click either Vault Radar agent or Vault Radar CLI user. Because we're deploying an agent, we'll select that one. And then I will click create service principal. This will create our service principal, but it doesn't have any keys related to it yet. So if I go out to keys, we can see that no keys have been generated for the service principal. I'm going to move this off the screen so I can generate the credentials.
And I will say, I don't have control of the cards down there, so I can't wiggle things around. So I'll just sit here in jazz hands while you're doing that.
All right. All right. Let me copy that. I got our client ID, and I copied our client secret. All right. Close. And I believe we're good here. So I can... so I generated the key. I stored them. I have it in a notes here. This client ID, this is, public information. So there's, or not public information, but non-sensitive, I should say. So there's a client ID and client secret that makes up a key for your service principal. You need both to, connect out to HCP. The client secret, though, is one time. It only shows it to you once. If you forget it or delete it, then you have to either come out here, delete the key, and regenerate a new one. There's no way for you to get the secret key that already was created. So make sure that you take note, because you will need that in the future. So I can close this. So we created our client ID and client secret. We can click install agent. And so it gives us some environment variables that we need to run for our project. So we can see and it actually auto-populates some of these already for us, which is nice. So our project ID, our radar agent pool ID, and then we will have to put in our client ID and our client secret, which is what we just obtained. And I can do that here. And Chris, maybe a question for you. I can either put this just in terminal here like this, or I can try putting it on Kubernetes. I think we recommend doing it on Kubernetes. So maybe something we want to see is that, do you have a preference on which one?
I mean, I always love to see stuff done on Kubernetes, but I also want to be cognizant of our time and, Whatever you feel like doing, Mr. Kosir. A dealer's choice in this case.
We're gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna make a development Kubernetes cluster. Hopefully this doesn't take too long. We still have, I think, 30 minutes, and I think the only thing we're kind of talking about today is the agent and agent pools. So I think kind of showing it on, because that's typically where you're going to run this, is you're going to run it on Kubernetes. So I'm actually going to copy paste some of this stuff here. And then I have
off screen.
So on out here, this is my VS Code, and Chris, let me know if this is good or if I need to bump it up one more.
Bump it up one more.
All right, there we go.
For the folks.
So this is actually out on our documentation. So there's Kubernetes instructions and Linux instructions. So kind of what the HCP portal shows you was those Linux instructions, export these variables, and then just run Vault Radar agent exec. That's going to run one single instance of Vault Radar agent, but we want to deploy it on Kubernetes for high availability. So they even give you an example deployment. So I just copied, pasted this into VS Code. And so essentially this is going to make a namespace called Vault Radar. It's going to make a service account for Vault Radar. It's going to store some secrets here, which I'll do this kind of on a different screen. I commented out this Vault Radar Git token, but we'll uncomment that as well. And then it's going to make a deployment. We're going to have 2 replicas, and it's going to pull our specific Vault Radar image. So this Vault Radar is also a Docker image as well, which is really cool. And it also has some resources, some resource limits, which I like to see. But this is where I need to put in the things that I copy pasted. So I think we wanted the project ID. I'll put that in here, and our agent pool ID, which I'll put in here as well. And then I need to put in our client ID. And again, the client ID is, it's non-sensitive. I wouldn't go out, publishing it to the world, but it is, you need both client ID and client secret. And then our client secret is being pulled from Kubernetes secrets, and our Vault Radar Git token is being pulled from Kubernetes secrets, which is up here. And actually, while we're down this path, we can also create this Vault Radar. We'll do that. We'll do that in a second. Let's see, is this AI Copilot messing me up? So I believe we have our kgit nodes, or cube ctl git namespaces. All right, so our Kubernetes server is up and running. So that is good. I will put in this client secret. So let me take this off the screen for a second. And ideally, there's, kind of hard coding this is probably not the best way to go. Definitely you can configure. There's a lot of good integrations with Kubernetes and Vault if you want to pull secrets that way. But just for demo purposes, I will do this. Let's see. All right. Let me copy, paste this. Copy and we will cd documents live stream agent and all right. So we just did our kubectl apply, and we can see that we created Vault Radar agent, namespaces, deployments, things like that. So if we do a kgit pods in namespace Vault Radar agent, or Vault Radar, I believe, create container configure. Interesting. We might, I was being, we might have to just do it on the Linux command line, let's see.
Well, this is the joy of doing things live.
Doing things live. I have not. Yes, I have not. I have not tried doing this. And you know how Kubernetes debugging goes. It's not always the easiest. Create container config error. Let me try something else. Let me do.
I will say though, if anything, this gives the folks at home a little bit of assurance that when they run into these problems at home, this is exactly what happens to us when we do things live too.
Nothing live ever works. At this point, something you just gotta live with.
Some days the demo gods are appeased. Some days the demo gods are not appeased.
All right, I will kind of offline. I'll take a look. I'm going to just we're gonna go back to the Linux way. Maybe I was too. Let's see. Maybe I was too eager. Let's go this. So we're going to export our project ID and agent pool, and then we will export our client ID, and we will put in our client ID. And then I will take this off the screen because we need to set our client secret.
Shh, don't tell anybody. It's a secret.
Put this in. Export client.
Oh, awaiting connections already spinning.
Secret. All right. And then, so I got all of those, and then we can do Vault Radar agent exec. If we come back over here. So we can see, I'll put this on the left-hand side here and put this maybe on the right-hand side. So we can see that this is our agent running on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, we can see that it was actually able to connect to it. So before this said awaiting connection or something like that. But now we can see that it's connected to DC1 example. So our agent, which is running on the left-hand side, is actually talking to the HCP cloud, HashiCorp Cloud Platform, and it is all a outbound connection, right? So you don't need to poke a hole into your firewall that allows an inbound connection. The cool thing with the agent is that it's an outbound connection. So radar that lives within your private environment is talking out to the cloud, and then that's how they are then further communicating. So I can hit finish here, and then let's open this back up, and we can go to add a data source to an agent pool. Because we're running this agent pool, we want to scan an on-prem, resource. So we're going to do a GitHub Enterprise server. So this is something that not the public internet cannot access. So I will be doing github.ibm.com, and then we will enter our organization name. So in this case, it is Michael-Kosir because I have out on github.ibm.com. I have a GitHub org called Michael Kosir, and I have a repo out here with some secrets in it. And the cool thing about this one, Chris, is that this link right here. So again, this is that generate that that GitHub pat that takes you out here.
Right.
It actually populates whatever you type in here, right? So if I put example.com and then I click this, it tries to go out to example.com. But
right.
if I put in my actual domain and then click this, it takes me right out to it, and then I can just say Vault Radar, and again, least privilege policy.
That is slick. I really like that.
I can generate a token. I almost just showed that on the screen.
Michael.
I'm going to delete that, and I will recreate it. You know what? I think that one got.
I didn't see it. I didn't see it. It didn't. We're gonna be deleting this whole thing anyway.
Yeah. All right. Vault Radar. I deleted it. I'm going to make a new one off screen. Just the stuff that
out of an abundance of caution. Good for you.
I don't think you can do much with it. So, and then we can enter this GitHub path here. So this is something GitHub pat. Because I'm running this as a Linux, we're running this Linux process, this agent. I have to stop it and restart it with a new environment variable. If you were on Kubernetes, you would just do a rollout restart, kind of issue that rolling restart for your deployment. That way it picks up the new environment variables. But in this case, I need to stop the job, and then I do an export GitHub pat. So this just lines up with whatever I define it here. And then I'm going to, take this off the screen. And then put this in here, and then I can bring this back over and do, I did it again. All right, we're going to delete that one again. We'll make it one more time. Vault Radar. We'll get it one of these days.
Vault Radar, take three.
Generate token. I moved my terminal over and it bumped up the resolution. That's not my fault. All right. GitHub pat. All right. Export. I'm going to hit enter a bunch of times this time. Learn my lesson. Vault Radar agent exec. I believe. All right. We're safe.
Man.
All right. All right, so we started Vault Radar again, this time with that pat as this environment variable. We can hit next, and this field, so we hit next, and it's actually trying to verify that it has connections. So we should be seeing, as you can see on the left-hand side, a bunch of stuff's popping up, but on this page, there will be a prompt that pops up that says, it was successful, which, there it goes. We go to the next one. I will select repositories to monitor. I only have one repository in the GitHub IBM, which is this live stream. I will select that and click finish. And it is now going to scan. So we can see here that we have GitHub Cloud, and GitHub Enterprise, right? So this middle one here, this GitHub Enterprise, that is something that is, on-premise, it's not on the public internet. So our HCP is talking to our agent pool, which lives within our private environment. And then from there, it is talking to GitHub Enterprise within your environment, and then sending metadata back up to HCP. So this left-hand side, again, it's just scanning for a bunch of stuff. Hopefully, I can't imagine any of these logs have anything sensitive in it. There are a bunch of just info debug messages here. But if we go out to resources, we can see our, again, data source is this Michael Kosir, github.ibm.com, and we can click into that, and we can see that there were, in fact, 2 secrets found here as well. We have a Vault root service token and a secret assignment. So kind of interesting. And if we click these, this will actually take us out to where this was. So again, this is in our private environment, not available to the public internet, but we can see that we are setting specific tokens, and then we're setting a specific API key. Again, this Vault token is made up, and this API key is made up, so you don't have to try it. All the other ones that I showed, maybe those were accurate, but I quickly revoked them.
But they will be inaccurate right after the end of this live stream.
Right.
So
yes, absolutely. So that's kind of the overview of these Vault Radar agents. So just from that, so if I go back to let's see, settings agent, so we can see our agent pool again is called DC1 example data center 1 example. We can see when the last heartbeat is, so it's always checking to see, is it still online? It is an outbound connection from your private environment, and we can, manage this, connect an agent to the pool. If we want to add more agents, because right now we're only doing the one agent, which is this kind of Linux or this Linux process. Ideally, you would deploy this on Kubernetes, which is something that I'll have to look into and see what specific things failed when I tried to do that. But then, we just add data sources here. So if you're running Bitbucket server on premise, if you're running Azure DevOps server on premise or Confluence on premise, Jira on premise, you can connect to all of these through this Vault Radar agent and agent pool.
Either on premise or on premises, whichever way you want to run it.
Yes. Private. It's been a long day. It's not even one, and it's been a long day.
I know that there's somebody out there just going, ah. No.
But I think that's maybe this one's going to be a shorter episode here. Chris, I don't know if there's any questions out there that we can try to answer.
A lot of comments from Tracy P. Holmes, pro Linux comments, not anti Kubernetes comments, but definitely pro Linux comments. I do love that how simple this hookup is. Yeah, we ran into a couple of issues and a couple of hiccups and everything, but that was
but I mean, when we're talking Kubernetes, who doesn't run into a few hiccups right?
No, but the overall motion of this is very well defined, and it makes sense. I mean the connectivity bits of this all make sense, and they all fall into place. This was awesome. Yeah,
and again, just kind of showing this diagram out here. This is how agent pools work, and I believe it's very similar how the Terraform those runners work as well, is that you kind of have this pool of agents within your environment, and then from there it's talking out to the HashiCorp cloud platform. Again, that outbound connection, so you don't have to open up a port or anything on your firewalls. It's just as long as outbound connections are allowed, then this setup will work for you. And then from there, you start your scans. Again, we configured everything in the HCP portal, right? So this is out on the public internet. We log in, we can manage it. But then when we start the scan, it's talking to that Vault Radar that lives within our private environment. I am running that just on my local computer here, but ideally you would put it in Kubernetes. That way you can have replicas, high availability. When you start adding more and more data sources, right? So when we did that GitHub access token, because I'm running it locally, I had to manually stop it, add a new environment variable, and then manually restart it. Where it's an easy process to do that on Kubernetes. You just add a new environment variable to your YAML, and then Kubernetes will do that kind of rollout restart for you. So there's a lot. If you're going down this route, highly recommend putting it on Kubernetes. There's a lot of benefits there. But if you don't want to do that and you like virtual machines, you could spin up virtual machines and then just have a number of these processes running within your environment.
And know that you'd have to restart them whenever you make changes.
Yeah. Anytime you want to add a new data source, again, Vault Radar agent scan. So the one on the left, HCP radar scan, that's going to be scans coming from HCP. And then Vault Radar agent scan, that's going to be coming from our private environment. Again, we can, Radar only supports having one agent pool at the moment. So kind of one data center in this example. But we can pick one of these, like Bitbucket server, for example. So when we do this, we'll have to put in a Bitbucket access token, which needs to be stored as an environment variable, which we then kind of define here. But then, Chris, you're absolutely right. We'd come out here manually, kind of do those things here because we're doing the Linux server. But
yay!
Awesome. Other than the Kubernetes thing, and honestly, the Kubernetes thing is probably something with my computer. I'm probably locked down on something, and it's probably not reaching out. I will take a look, and we can discuss it. Maybe just briefly discuss it the next time on what I needed to tweak to get the Kubernetes aspect working. But
figure out how we can blame Rosemary for it too.
I know. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'd have to go back check Rosemary notes. Maybe she already did all of this. and maybe that's why it's messing up.
Amazing.
But yeah, Chris, any questions or anyone watching questions from the community? We still have a couple minutes, but
nope, no questions. A bunch of hellos from all over the world. We've got hellos from Colombia, India, Georgia, New York, Chicago. We have got a wide-ranged and varied audience today.
Awesome.
Looking at all your secrets.
Yeah, I'm face palming here, but hopefully I didn't leak anything else.
Nope, perfectly fine.
I'm going to clean everything up after this anyway, so just to be sure. With that, awesome. So again, if you want to get started with HCP Vault Radar, you can sign up for a trial account with HCP that gives you $500 of credits, which is pretty cool. And you also get a 30-day free trial of Vault Radar with some limitations there. I'm not sure if the 30-day free trial supports this agent scanning or not. But once you move past the trial, it's something you can definitely do for sure. But yeah, so if you want to get started, you can go out, scan some of your repos for free right now. See what secrets you have out there. Maybe next episode, let us know and say, hey, I found 10 secrets. That'd be interesting. Chris and I would enjoy that. But
it's a contest. How many secrets can you leak?
Yes. Yeah, come back. Let us. We'll see who has the most secrets out there. Maybe you want to stay.
Chris and Michael said it was a competition. I wanted to win.
You have to post it.
We have to have some kind of legal disclaimer for that competition.
But with that, I think we can wrap it up there, Chris. I think. Again, so episode 1, we covered kind of data sources getting into HCP Vault Radar. What is radar scanning? Episode 2 was around integrations and alerting. So if you want to be notified or have a ticket anytime Vault Radar finds something, definitely check out episode 2. This episode was all around Vault agents and Vault agent pools for private environments. Next week, I think we're going to talk about more about the CLI. There's some additional CLI scanning capabilities. And then I think we're going to take a look at some Vault integrations, right? So this is all Vault Radar, which is around secret scanning. And I know in episode 1, we talked about there were some integrations with Vault, which is a secrets and encryption management platform. So I'm hoping next episode we can take a look at more CLI stuff as well as more Vault integrations there. But with that, Chris and I will see you next time. Enjoy your week, and we'll chat next time.
Thanks for attending, and bring your questions for next week as well. Super enjoy the engagement.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, team.